Hi everyone, and this is the first official episode of the 20s Leadership podcast after last week's introduction and the three taster episodes that I put out last week as well. Now, I'm really excited to start this because obviously for the past sort of year and a half I've done a lot of video and I'm excited to just talk. I'm excited to just think about the actual what I'm saying being important rather than the video aspect of it. And I think this is really key because you can listen to this so much more freely and on demand rather than having to go and search for stuff, having to dedicate time to find somewhere where it's quiet to watch the video if that's not something that is exactly what you want to do. And you can actually spend a bit of time going back, listening to things that you like. Whenever I listen to podcasts, I usually find that if I hear something that I want to hear again and I want to make a note of because it gives me an idea, it's so much easier to go back and do that, which I find really useful. Now, this episode here, I'm really excited to talk to you guys about, is on a specific topic. Now, like I've said at the start, this episode, as I build this and I grow this, will be conversations with people I admire, people that you guys admire, around a certain topic. But just to begin, I'm going to talk about these topics from my perspective and how I feel about them and how I want you guys to perceive them. So this particular topic here is going to be on self-doubt. Now, this is in particular at sort of work and in a work environment, because that is when it's very prevalent, it's very common. Obviously we could talk about social situations or whatever, but I'm more interested in that side of our professional lives, our working lives, where self-doubt comes into play. Now, I don't know about you, but I've found it's very easy on a daily basis to fall into this cycle of self-doubt. You maybe don't know what's coming up that day. You're obviously a capable individual. You are you have this ability of being independent. You've got strong, beliefs and values and opinions on, what you think is right and what you think is important. However, this is called into question every day by the people around you, by the environment that you're working in, and it can be really hard to stop the self-doubt overwhelming you. And when it comes to stopping it having an effect on you, this is where where are we ever taught how to manage this? It's something that we need to learn to deflect, bat away in a manner that flips it, where we can be more positive, be more productive, actually be more aware of the self-doubt and turning it into something more useful for us. Now, what I want you to think of first of all is, what are the triggers for self-doubt on a daily basis for you? Is it when you wake up and you think of all the things that you need to do that day, or you wake up and there's all this, there's a lot of unpredictability. There's a lot of not 100% sure what's going to come at you that day, and you need to be able to manage that self-doubt in the sort of start of the day. So maybe this is one thing, or maybe it's the fact that you've got to interact with certain colleagues or certain people that day, and you're not sure exactly how it's going to go. You aren't feeling that whatever you do is going to have a positive impact, but you have to do it. And the fact that builds up and you allow it to build up without taking action then leads to more self-doubt about who you are and what you stand for. A lot of people use this term, but I find it interesting and thought-provoking that within work, 80% of our success is how we deal with other people. It's how we deal with the clients that we need to talk to on a daily basis. It's how we talk to our boss every day. It's how we communicate with our colleagues. It's how we communicate with our students or the people that we're potentially responsible for as well. So how does that come into play when we've got all this unpredictability about conversations and communication, and we're going to nail every single one? Maybe the first thing we need to do when it comes to feeling doubtful about this and how we're going to perform here is it's not always going to be the right thing that you do. You're not always going to do the correct thing. But to go a step even further, can you predict for how a conversation is going to go when maybe you don't communicate in the way that you want, but you're still standing by your values, you're still standing by your beliefs, you're still thinking, this is what I believe in, so I'm going to stick to my guns, I'm going to stand my ground here, and actually acknowledge that regardless of how I maybe thought this was going to pan out a million times before it happened today, I'm still sticking to what I believe in. Now, as you guys, a lot of you will probably know, I started a new job probably back about 4 months ago. So the first sort of few months of that, a lot of it was it was filled with self-doubt about all the different scenarios, situations, people I was dealing with every day. It was completely new to me. And I find that when we observe how people behave in certain ways, we then need to adapt to, how can I turn this into a positive for me? How can I ask the right questions about something I'm not comfortable in? And this comes back to the point of, asking questions isn't a bad thing. Asking a question allows someone else to help you. And tell me if I'm wrong, but whenever you've helped someone, have you ever felt bad about it? Now, you're always going to get people that get annoyed or maybe sigh at the annoyance of having to help someone out because it's maybe a daft question or something that they know quite well. But then, is there an opportunity there for you then, if you're asking a question, thinking, have you done everything that you can to find out as much as you can at the point of learning that you're at, to know as much as you can? So to put that into a sort of simpler scenario, you don't know much about a certain topic. Before you ask a question, have you done all the research that you can on it and thought of all the potential outcomes that it might have before approaching someone on it? Because then if you ask a question and they give you an answer, can you then question them on that original question? And this is just an example of, the constant sort of areas of, where you could maybe doubt what's going to happen that day and doubt how you reflect on others. That's ultimately what this is about. You're scared about how you, as an individual reflect on others and how everybody else perceives you. And that's, ultimately the battle that we're against. We need to get over this fact of, do we care that much about what people think of us? Over a longer period of time, people are going to really appreciate who you are, what you stand for, not by the silly thing that you said once. They're going to remember you for the actions that you have, the way you come across, the way that, ultimately, the aura that you create. And this is really important to remember. Are you, every day, creating an aura around yourself of how you want people to view you, to perceive you? Are you that nervous individual? Are you that awkward person? Or are you that person that doesn't really care what people think when you ask a question, or that person that's maybe really insightful and curious about certain topics or about new things? Or are you that person that's always serious because you're worried about what people think of you if you're maybe a bit more laid back? These are the things that you need to contemplate. You need to look at, right, how do I think I am? And how do I think others perceive me? And you can always go to maybe people that you're comfortable with and ask them to sort of highlight 3 sort of points that they would use to describe you. So this kind of wraps up this sort of episode about self-doubt. I've tried to give as many examples as possible in this short period of time as I can. But I hope this provokes some thought within you. Ultimately, we want to think of the aura that we create around ourselves. Because have you ever been in a situation where you felt comfortable around someone who doubts themselves? Ultimately, nobody ever has. Create that person you want to be, and eventually others will start to see that too, but you need to start living that every day. I hope this has helped. I hope this is something that, again, you've learned one thing from, and like I'm always going to wrap up with, this is because I want everybody to become the best version of themselves that they can be. If this is helping you take one step closer to that, happy days. That's what I want. Just to finish as well, the whole reason for this podcast about 20s leadership is to build something that's going to have a massive impact on everybody that comes across it. As part of 20s leadership, I offer one-to-one coaching with people that want to become their best selves, that want to become or want to improve themselves, constantly working towards a goal that they have, something that they want to achieve. And this is something that I'm really excited to get involved with, help more people on a more impactful level. Now, obviously, this is something that's going to cost money, but when have you ever done something for free and fully invested in it? When have you ever done something for free and felt like it changed your life? Never. Even the lottery costs £1. So if you are interested in working with me one-to-one on a coaching basis, I will be offering 1 month coaching to people that want it. If you want to get involved in that and explore that option in more detail, happy to talk on Facebook, message, hop on a call, whether that's Skype, whatever. Ping me a message, want to become your best self. I'm here to facilitate that. I'm here to get the best out of you. And if that's something that you want to do, get in touch with me in whatever way is easiest for you. Again, becoming the best version of ourselves we possibly can be is what this is all about. So, I hope you've enjoyed this episode and look forward to the next one.